Okay, once you've made the interface, you're now ready to start to do the blocks. To launch the blocks editor, which is to program your app to give it useful instructions, you have to select blocks editor and open it up. Now when you open a blocks editor, which may take a minute or two, you'll then see this screen, and from this screen you'll see in my blocks the different components you've got in your app. The first component is the button. The second component I've got is a label, and the third one that's important is my sound. So what I want to do is, I want my app to respond to when I click the button by producing a different response or different answer back to the user randomly. So what I have to say is, when the button has been clicked, so when the button ask a question.click has been activated, which means when someone's clicked the button, I want to first of all change the text on a label. So the label, I want to say label change to. So set the label underscore answer.text to. That means change the label answer to something different. And then what I want to do is, and I want to activate a list. Now to do a list, which is a list of possible answers, you have to go to the built-in operations and list. You have lots and lots of different responses, but the one we want to use is call pick a random item, and what that means is it will pick whichever item on the list, whichever answer it feels like randomly, using a different algorithm. And then need to make a list. So under list, I need to make a list. So to make a list, I have lots and lots of different options, and I want to say make a list. So call make a list. This one will say, right, you've now got to list, and for each item I then need to basically choose what the answer will be. So I'm going to choose an option, and to do this I'm just going to left click to the right hand side of the block and choose text, and then text again. I'm going to connect it to my list, and the first possible answer I'm going to say is yes, do that. My second possible answer, now my list is expanded, is click the left mouse button next to it and text again. I'm going to say no, that is a bad idea, and then connect it, and then I'll get a next list option. So now I'm going to choose my next item and text again and connect it again, and this time I'm going to say it is up to you, and I'm going to choose the last one, so text again, and then I'm going to choose I don't think so. So these are just random texts I've made up, but from your research you should have an idea of the type of responses that your app should produce. That is now picking from a list. I always get an empty space at the bottom of my list in case I need to have one, which is perfectly fine. There's one more thing that I need to do though, or I want to do. I want to go to my blocks, and I want to go to sound when the answer should appear, and I want to make the sound play. So I'm going to drag that to the bottom. That means that when I click the button, produce a random answer from the list and then play a sound. That is now the block for my program. I'm now going to test it, but before we do, your job is to go and recreate this.